welcome to Guitar Speak. I'm Bryan Singh. We talk about guitars, gears, songwriting, and music. Today we're going to talk about the Squier 51. Squier is Fender's budget brand. It's been around since the 1980s and has received a bad reputation because of the very inexpensive, cheap beginner guitars they make. However, some Squiers are very good guitars, and although they are inexpensive, they are made with modern machining and finishing techniques in countries where labor is cheap, normally Indonesia or China. And many of them are great values and great modification platforms. The Squier 51 was made from approximately 2004 to 2007. And has also been reissued in late 2012, and so you can buy these new from the major retailers. You rarely see them at the stores because they are a low margin item. You have to order them online most of the time. I've never seen one in a store except for this one, which I bought used. Typically you can buy them for $75 to $150 used on Craigslist, eBay, or in the case of this one, at the major big box store. I got this one for $129. They originally came in three colors: butterscotch, black, and sunburst. The newer series comes in red, sunburst, and butterscotch. So if you see a black one, you know it's one of the original series from 2004 to 2007. The things that make the Squier 51 such a great guitar are many. One is, it's an original Squier design. It's a Stratocaster type of body and a Telecaster neck, and the neck pocket is cut for a Telecaster. You can take these necks and put them on your Telecaster. You can take any Telecaster neck and it'll bolt right up. It features a split humbucker in the bridge position, and you can coil tap it by pulling this knob here, the volume knob. And it also features a neck single coil. The stock pickups sound pretty good. However, the guitars are so inexpensive, people modify them and generally replace two things at least. Very often it's the pickups, but almost all of them modify the bridge. There's sort of a strange design where the string passes over and under the saddle, both pushing it down and pulling it up, unlike the conventional method where it's all downforce, which tends to transfer tone into the body. You can see from the image there that the string pushes the saddle down and pulls it up. These guitars feature a top-loading bridge, so there are no holes through the body like on a Stratocaster or a Telecaster. The top-loading bridge simplifies cost in production and also gives it an interesting feel. It also means that when you replace the bridge, you have to make sure you're using a top-loader bridge. They're made out of basswood and thus are typically lightweight. We'll weigh a few of them in a few minutes. They all came with maple necks, and many of the necks have a very nice flame. They all have a satin finish, thin neck finish, and quite often they suffer from fret sprout. And I believe the reason is they didn't dry the wood very well, and also they were made in a very humid part of the world, Indonesia. So after they're a few years old, the neck shrinks a little bit, the fret edges come out and might cut your hand if you don't have them filed down. The necks are renowned for their comfort and smoothness, and very often are bought to be put on a Telecaster since they're a direct replacement. This particular one is a butterscotch model, and by the serial number I see it's a 2005, and it's a nice guitar right out of the box. This one is totally stock, unmodified, and so everything about it is stock, and it's a very, very nice guitar with a high degree of fit and finish. I'm going to move on and show you some of the modifications I've done to various Squier 51s and things that you might consider for yours. Fender reissued the Squier 51 as a Fender branded instrument made in Japan with a string-through body instead of a top-loading bridge. It's unusual that Fender actually made a copy of the Squier design. Usually it's the other way around, the Squier Telecaster and Stratocaster being examples of copies of the Fender instruments. On this Squier 51, which by the serial number is a 2004, we have a sunburst finish. The 51s came with either a black or a white pickguard, and I have changed the pickguard in this one to be a clear one to show the sunburst finish. Also, in the bridge pickup, I have put a Seymour Duncan 59 with a chrome cover on it. Also, I have done what is called the Bubba Mod, and you can look that up on the internet. So named for the guy who popularized it in the Modders Forum, a guy named Bubba Mod. What the Bubba Mod is drilling 3 holes into the 6-saddle bridge, removing the 6 saddles, and installing Telecaster saddles, 3 Telecaster saddles, in this case brass compensated saddles. This moves the guitar more in the direction of the Telecaster tone. You can see the compensated brass saddles, typical of Telecasters, and you can see the 3 additional holes that have been drilled in it to accommodate them. The 6 holes for the old saddles are still in place, as are the 6 top-loading string holes. In the neck position of this guitar, we have a 1980s Fender Japan neck pickup. Let's play it a moment and see how it sounds. Next up is a 2005 51 in black. This particular Squier 51 has been modified with a Squier John 5 Telecaster neck. All of the 51s came with maple necks. This one has a rosewood fretboard because the neck came from another Squier Telecaster. This neck is a 12-inch radius and is neat because it has the chrome Squier logo on it, which kind of matches the black and chrome on the rest of it. The usual white pickguard has been replaced with a clear one. In here we have a Lindy Fralin neck pickup and a Seymour Duncan JB pickup in the bridge. Let's give this one a little run. Today we're playing through a Blackstar HT40, which is bone stock, except that we have replaced all the tubes with our favorite combination of new and old stock tubes that we painstakingly went through to get the best tone on both the clean and the distortion channel. We'll probably talk about tube rolling, as it is called, in a future episode. This black Squier 51 is my favorite. This guitar has a Lawler pickup in the neck position and a Seymour Duncan Super Distortion humbucker from the 1980s in the bridge. This pickup does not have coil split capabilities, so the coil split knob on this particular guitar does not do anything. On this particular 51, I've installed a Wilkinson half bridge with brass compensated saddles, and this is a great upgrade if you prefer a more Telecaster type of bridge. The Bubba Mod is a little cheaper, but these bridges run about $25, and the holes don't exactly line up. You will have to mark it and drill it, and of course if you mess that up you'll ruin the guitar. So be careful installing an aftermarket bridge. You want to make sure you get that on straight, and we'll zoom in and take a quick look at this bridge. This bridge is just barely large enough to cover the original factory holes. I didn't bother filling the holes since it covers it, and it can always be reverted back to the original bridge. But it has the compensated saddles, and at $25 these are a great value. The Squire 51s, being made out of basswood, are generally pretty light. This one weighs in at 7 pounds 6 ounces. This stock model weighs in at 7 pounds 8 ounces. This Sunburst model weighs in at 7 pounds 7 ounces. And this one with the John 5 Telecaster neck weighs in at 7 pounds 3 ounces. This is the lightest of them all. In closing, the Squire 51, like many modern Squires, is a great guitar. I don't mean a great guitar for the money, I mean a great guitar in its own right. If you want to get into modifying or building or customization and don't want to put out a lot of money, a Squire 51 is a great start, as is any used Squire. You can buy the 2004 to 2007 models for $75 to $150 used, and you can buy the new reissues from 2012 for $179 online, maybe less if you negotiate. They're wonderful guitars, and they're a lot of fun to play with, and they rival the quality of more expensive instruments made in Mexico and even made in the USA. In the modern world of CNC machinery and high-tech finishes, it's very easy to produce a high-quality guitar. Basswood is much maligned as a cheap, inferior wood, but the fact is, many high-end Ibanez models costing $2,000 and up are made out of basswood. Basswood is generally a lightweight wood. It's somewhat soft, but it is non-traditional in the Strat and Telecaster world, and so people tend to discount it. But I can tell you I enjoy my basswood Strats and 51s as much as any other wood, and they sound just as good and play just as well. Thanks for tuning in to Guitar Speak, and happy jamming. See you next time.